Don?
No, nothing for Curtis.
Okay.
If we're still on
Executive Officer report?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to note on 4D.
4D?
The summary of the
field hearing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just wanted to note that the Wednesday, January 18th, I did attend that hearing.
Okay, let's make a correction on that. This is 4D, and
the Clarksburg hearing.
Yep. Okay. All right. Other questions on the executive officer?
We also would like to have a legal update, and then I have one other thing.
Oh, I should probably note, our chief counsel, Mr. Stevens, has been out sick, and he apparently caught chickenpox from someone somewhere and was in considerable pain and not happy for a week and a half or something like that, really grumpy on the telephone and by email. So this happened and prevented him from attending some of our statewide meetings where I don't see Keith Coolidge in the room, but Keith kind of made the announcement and announced that he was suffering from smallpox, which caused the entire audience to gasp in dismay.
I had to put a call into our health officer to see if we had an outbreak in Sacramento County, since that's what was at Clarksburg that night. So.
Well, but chickenpox is uncomfortable enough.
With that introduction,
glad to see you back, Mr.
Thank
Stevens.
you. I'm happy to be alive. Boy. Yeah, it was uncomfortable, but
and grumpy.
Grumpy too. All those years of bad living finally caught up with me. But this was actually the second time. I actually did have it as a kid, and apparently it's very rare. But somehow I got it. But I'm happy to be here. So
Good.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I'm going to not really give a legal update. I'll get some updated schedulings on the briefings and the smelt and the salmon cases from our friends at DWR for our next meeting.
Right.
There was one case that I just wanted to bring to your attention without getting into the details because it'll be on appeal. It's a long-standing case. It actually involves takings under the federal Constitution, and it's a case that's been ongoing now for many years in the federal Court of Claims back in Washington, D.C. Casitas.
Get closer to the microphone, Mr.
Yep. In this case, Casitas Municipal Water District sued the United States in the federal claims court for a Fifth Amendment taking based on a biological opinion that was issued by the National Marine Fisheries Service under the Endangered Species Act. And this had to do with protecting endangered steelhead. It had to do with a diversion dam, creating a fish ladder, actually having to dedicate water that otherwise would go into Casitas' storage to operate the fish ladder. Casitas obviously was not happy. They brought this claim, claiming it was a taking. A whole bunch of intricate issues with regard to background principles of California water law, and that's why it's important for all of us. The defendant was the U.S. government, but the state board was involved as an amicus. The Attorney General's office provided briefing support for that. So we've been involved in this. It's the decision that came out. We already know that one of the parties is going to appeal. So I'm not going to get into the details. The court issued a 53-page slip opinion in December, ultimately running through issues regarding public trust, background principles that adhered what a water right under California law actually was, talked about, they went through all of this. In the end, they said the issue isn't ripe yet. Casitas hasn't proven that it's lost any beneficial use to the water. And so that's made them unhappy. They've appealed. We're not sure yet if the U.S. government's going to appeal. I'll monitor it for you and get back to you when I have more details.
I read the decision when it came out. Chris had sent it to me, and it's actually quite interesting as an explanation of the history of California law in this subject area. Yeah. Okay.
A couple last items.
Last two items, Mr.
Last part of
Grindset.
the officer's report. One, I want to introduce Cindy Messer. Cindy, would you stand up, Cindy?
Look innocent.
Yeah, Cindy has recently been hired by the council, and Terry McCauley, who you've all seen many, many times, is planning to retire soon. Cindy has been hired and is acting will be acting in her place. So you'll probably be seeing Cindy a lot, and she'll be taking over the lead role in managing, trying to get the Delta plan done.
Well, some of us note that she used to work for this entity and its predecessor entity, and in spite of her tenure with the Delta Conservancy, some of us thought she never really left. Me, anyway.
And she has, before this, been acting as she was the acting executive officer at the Delta Conservancy and has been the number 2 person at the Delta Conservancy for some time now. So,
yeah.
Thanks very much for
Thank you.
being
And an
here.
engineer.
And I want to point out that Dan Ray is actually back, so now you can follow up if you would like.
No, I think we're going to move on and come back when we
Okay.
circle around on the 2 letters that we previously mentioned. We'll see if there are any questions of Dan on that. Okay. All right.